Right, welcome to week 2 of Design 320. This is our overview, and this week we're going to focus on 1-point perspective drawings. This is going to be hand sketching, and we're going to look at starting concept models for civil and architectural models. And just as a reminder, or actually an introduction, concept models are not exact as a detail model would be. Concept models are there to give the viewer an idea, a visualization, so they can start working to develop the concept. Find out what features are there, what features are not there, which ones are required and are there, which ones are required are not there, which ones are there that aren't required. So the concept needs to develop. And these types of models are intended to be fast, quick, somewhat accurate from the visualization point of view, sort of proper scale and maybe showing the materials and things like that. But they are not like a surveyed model that has everything down to the 16th of an inch. Okay, so these are going to be very quick models that are concept driven. And one way that we make those visualizations, concept visualizations, are 1-point perspective. And the other is with SketchUp, civil and architectural models. Actually, civil and architectural models, and we are going to use SketchUp to do that at this point. So there are some activities for the 1-point perspectives. There are a few required and an optional one. So you're going to do some hand sketching for landscape and for architectural modeling. And then there's a slide that gives you a whole bunch more additional hand sketches if you want to help develop your skill in that. And these, again, are 1-point perspective. And really, our civil, in this case, we're calling it a landscape. Excuse me. The files will be available to you on Monday the 22nd. This should take you about 4 hours total to do both the required and the optional. 2 hours of study and work. There are a number of videos to watch that are part of the lecture. Those should be watched before the first lab of the week. So you're going to need to watch these on Monday or early on Tuesday. And there's about 30 minutes worth of videos to watch. And we'll spend an hour to an hour and a half in lab doing the hand sketches and teaching that. And then there's about 2 hours of optional. Okay, this is all due on January 28th at 11:59 p.m. So that's our 1-point perspective. Some required work, hand sketching, landscape, architectural, some optional work, which are additional hand sketches, and a total of 4 hours, but you could probably plan to use 2 if that's all the time that you've got. Then we'll move into making some models in SketchUp, civil and architectural models. To do that, you're going to have to understand how to use the protractor tool in SketchUp, so there's a file about that. You'll need to learn how to insert and scale an image. That's what we're going to use. We're going to use a flat image to start developing our 3D model. And so we'll need to get that in there and scaled to the right size so that everything is true size. And then there's a site plan file for you to get started with that lets you do the outside, insert an image, and start drawing topo surfaces. So there will be a little bit of information about topo surfaces. And we're going to start. Models are meant to be shared. They're meant for people to look at. They're meant for people to comment on and revise. And so how you share them is important. So our collaboration project is how to share things in a Google folder so that certain people have certain rights when they get a hold of the model. Okay, some people can just look at it, some people can download it, some people can have full rights to it. So that's what we're going to learn about in the collaboration. For the optional, we're getting ready to work with the Aerial Lab, VR Lab on campus in week 3 and week 4. You're going to be able to take your developing models, take them to the VR Lab, and actually walk around in them so that you have a better understanding of what's really going on in that model, and so that we can start learning how to collaborate in VR in a much stronger way than we can just do on paper. And so there are some things that you do to prepare your file for VR, so that's an optional one. We have the graphic dictionary again, which is a great way to develop your portfolio and your resume so that you know terms and can put them to image and tie it to what you've done so that when you're in an interview, you can talk the lingo of the discipline. We have some more vocational computations. Design is based on computations. Not so much this concept work, but even some concept work is tied to standards and basic principles that have to do with numbers. So there are some vocational computations, and again, these are all optional. And then there's some interesting large language model research, Google Bard or ChatGPT or Bing or something like that you can do. Okay, so these will also be available on January 22nd. You can expect 8 hours, and this is actually 3 and 5. Okay, I don't know why I typoed that with a 3. That's a 3 and a 5. So that should be about 8 hours of work. And again, this is all due on this date. So let's go one more time through. 1-point perspective is a very important way of drawing and presenting visualizations on paper. Sometimes that's where you get started. You're just talking and you need to get something done on paper. So that's your 1-point perspectives. And this is one method of showing 3D on paper. And so you're going to have some work on that. And then civil and architectural models. They're concept models. They're not perfect. They're rough. They're estimates. They're, again, just visualizations. They're places for the designers and all of the clients and stakeholders and everybody involved in the project to start talking about the same thing from the same point of visualization. And we will be preparing to go to the VR lab in weeks 3 and weeks 4. Okay, let's take a look and see where you can find some of this information. In the assignment guide, on the resource page, there are some lectures. Okay, there's what is that? 13, 15, about between 15 and 20 minutes. If you put that onto fast speed as you're watching those, you're down to 8 to 10 minutes of lecture. Okay, these are not specifically skill-based. They're about the how and the why that we would do these. You really need this. Remember that the lecture portion of this class is online, and you're expected to have addressed that before you come to lab. So check these over and watch these before you come to lab. Before the first lab, you should have at least watched the sample 1 and sample 2 videos that give you the basics. And if you can have watched the landscape video, you should also do that before you come to lab. Okay, because that's what the lab is going to be about, and we're gonna go through it sort of step by step in the lab, following about what they do here. And then the other thing for our lab on the first day of lab is to do our cityscape also. Okay, so that's our lab the first day. Our lab the second day is going to be to do the protractor assignment, to do the insert image and scale, and to press pull the layer cake. And those I'm just going to demonstrate for you. I may pull up a video that shows how to do it, but I'll probably just demo those and record the session. And then the collaboration is literally 5 minutes worth of work. We'll do that on the second day of lab also. Here's your optional work to do, and there's no videos for this one. So that's where you're going to find the information. All right, so there we go. That's your overview for week 2, 1-point perspective, concept, civil, and architectural models.